It's late at night in the city, and Detective Ko has two big problems to deal with. His mother has died and he should be at the funeral. But he's driving to his office because his squad is telling him that the Internal Affairs Department is on the way to their office to conduct an investigation regarding bribery. Ko keeps getting distracted by his phone because he keeps getting calls from his squad and his sister. As Ko continues to drive, he swerves his car to avoid a dog in the middle of the road. Then suddenly, he crashes onto something, leaving a crack on his front windshield. Ko ends up hitting a man, then gets out of his car to check. As he confirms the body was dead, suddenly Ko notices a police car approaching. In panic, he hides the dead body and himself behind the trash bin until the police drive away. Once the coast is clear, he puts the body in the trunk of the car and plans to throw it into the lake, but his escape is short-lived because he ends up driving into a DUI checkpoint. Ko doesn't want to do the test because he drank during the funeral, so he tries to convince the officers he only had a sip. He also tells them he's a detective. However, he keeps acting too suspicious by getting ready to flee the scene and adding an extra number to his police ID, an honest mistake he makes because he's too nervous. The officers don't trust his story because he also notices the cracked windshield. The other officers join in and are going to investigate his trunk. This makes Ko freak out and get violent. Ko fights them, but is sprayed with tear gas and tased, causing him to faint on the spot. Fortunately, they get confirmation that Ko is indeed a detective, so he gets to leave without issues. Meanwhile, at the police station, Choi, Do, and the rest of Ko's squad are in serious trouble because Internal Affairs have found all the bribe money. Their chief tries to stop them, claiming they don't have context for such an arrest. But the agents show him that they've also found a notebook with a list of all the bribes they've taken through the years. Choi texts Ko about it. Frustrated, Ko's phone gets another call from his sister, telling him to get back immediately as his mother is already being prepped. Ko finally arrives at the funeral building, taking a seat near his mother's shrine. A toy soldier crawls to his foot, and his daughter Mina appears. But before they can talk much, his squad shows up to talk to him. They want Ko to take all responsibility for the bribes, but he refuses to go down alone. An argument ensues that is cut short by Ko's sister with a reminder that they're about to close the casket, so the squad leaves to leave Ko to his mourning. Keeping to tradition, with her body finally in the coffin, Ko's sister places a cross on her body and the coffin is shut. As the funeral director and Ko are hammering the nails, Ko's phone receives a few messages, saying that his car might be getting checked. Ko starts to panic. He needs to think of a way to get rid of the body quickly, and by noticing the ventilation shafts, he has an idea. First, he goes out to buy a bunch of balloons. Then, he goes to the other end of the vent and throws Mina's remote control toy soldier inside, tied to a rope. Afterward, he goes back inside and asks the funeral director for some time with his mother. The funeral director accepts, saying that he may stay till midnight. Once he's left alone, Ko locks the door and uses the balloons to block the security camera. By climbing on a table, he reaches the ventilation shaft, opens it, and activates the toy. However, the toy soldier makes some gun noises, which bothers the people nearby. While the toy slowly moves, Ko pops off all of the coffin's nails and, apologizing to his deceased mother for what he is about to do. And all the noises he's making get the attention of one of the funeral house's workers. The woman calls security, but since the door is locked and the security camera is blocked, the guard must find the director to ask for a key. This gives Ko some extra time to complete his plan, so he hurries, dragging the toy towards him and starts pulling on the rope, which is carrying the dead body, and quickly places the body inside the coffin and nails it shut. The problem is, there's a little detail Ko's missed. The guy he killed has a phone in his pocket, and it's now ringing from inside the casket. Ko considers the option of reopening it, but at that moment, the director unlocks the door so Ko has to sit down and pretend he's mourning. Thankfully, the phone stops ringing before the director comes in, and Ko's nightmare finally ends. The next day, Ko's family escorts the coffin to the mountains, where it is going to be buried. He breaks down crying, apologizing to his mother. The day after the burial, the squad chief informs Ko they've managed to get Internal Affairs off their backs for now. With that taken care of, Ko only needs to do something about his last loose end, his car. When he sees a police car badly parked, he crashes into it on purpose and easily blames it on the officers by pulling rank.
나 서부서 고영사인데. 아이, 수고하십니다.
Then he gets his insurance to pay for the repairs without suspicion of when most of the damage really happened. Back to the station, a demonstration of confiscated C4, a bomb, is shown to the police, showing how powerful the bomb's explosion is, frightening the police and reporters. The squad returns to the office, where they are given more cases as punishment for their proven bribery. They got off easily this time because some help was given from their higher-ups. A tip on the case is also given, showing a mugshot and identity of a murderer. But when handed the case file, Ko is shocked to discover the criminal is Lee Guangmin, the man he killed. Obviously, he cannot tell the others about it, so he plays along and joins the raid of Lee's place. There, Ko finds the dog from the other night and follows it out, realizing that the crime scene is just a few steps away from Lee's home, with the tire marks still there. While checking out the road to make sure he didn't leave any clues behind, a police car stops and explains that they are investigating a hit-and-run incident a few days ago. It turns out someone saw the accident and called the police, but it was from a payphone and anonymous, so Officer Jin Ho has no idea who the witness was. The squad joins Ko and seems to recognize Jin Ho, since he is on Lieutenant Park's unit, the police higher-up that helped the squad on the problem with the internal affairs. But things only get worse for Ko when Jin Ho points out there's a security camera in the area, so they'll be able to check out the footage to find the car. The squad chief assigns Choi to go with Jin Ho to work on the footage because maybe their killer shows up in it too. Desperate to cover his tracks, Ko shows up at the office with the excuse of bringing his friend junk food and gets to watch the footage too. Fortunately, the video quality is bad and the car goes too fast, so the license plate is too blurry to read the number. Thus, Ko is relieved, for now. The next day at the office, Ko receives calls from a mysterious man, reporting on the case of Lee Guangmin. The man seems to know that Ko was the man behind the incident, and is threatening Ko. Ko storms off the office and realizes that the caller is nearby as he hears similar background noises in the call. He notices a man in a black coat, getting into a taxi and driving off. Ko doesn't hesitate to chase it through the streets, but he isn't fast enough, and the cab gets away. A few moments later, the man returns to his own work and reveals he's also a cop, Lieutenant Park. A short recap of what has happened is shown, interrupted by Choi banging on Ko's window, causing him to wake up from his nap. His colleagues have just returned from Metyangja, the mountain where Ko's mother and Lee were buried. They followed Lee's last cell phone location, but thankfully couldn't pinpoint the location. Park keeps calling him on both mobile and desk phone, so Ko keeps hanging up as well. This lasts for a while until Park actually shows up at the office and punches him. The squad quickly breaks them up and the man apologizes. He thought that Ko was someone else. The squad then introduces the man to Ko. He is Lieutenant Park, the man who helped them out on the matter with the internal affairs. Here, Ko can determine that Park was the mysterious caller. When Park goes to the toilet, Ko follows him there and locks the door before demanding to know what he wants. Park's demand is simple. He wants Ko to bring him Lee's body. Ko pretends he doesn't know where it is before starting a fight during which both of them end up inside stall. Park grabs Ko's head and shoves it into the toilet. After some struggle, Ko finally gives in, agreeing to bring Lee's body to Park. After driving to the mountain as fast as possible, Ko digs up his mother's coffin, taking Lee out. He investigates Lee's body, trying to figure out why Park wants his body so badly. He takes Lee's cell phone and finds out that his chest had bullet holes, meaning that he was already dead before Ko hit him. Desperate for answers, Ko returns to Lee's hideout to charge the phone and looking for the clue. There he was surprised by the dog who carried Lee's wallet and found a card for a shady personal piggy bank. Then Lee's phone rings and someone scolds Lee Guangmin, only to realize that it isn't Lee on the phone. Ko checks the number on the screen and calls Du to get some information on this guy. He's one of Lee's accomplices and lives nearby, so Ko decides to pay him a visit. Meanwhile, Choi is checking the traffic tickets that have arrived for the squad's cars. One of them is for Ko, and when Choi sees the security camera picture, He can't help noticing Ko's car was damaged before the accident with the police car, and the model matches the car on the hit-and-run footage. Back to Ko, he finds Lee's friend Joe, who tries to run away as soon as he sees a cop. Ko chases him and manages to catch him thanks to Joe's own clumsiness, so Ko takes him to a roof and threatens to push him if he doesn't talk. Joe explains that Park is a corrupt officer that stole confiscated drugs and using them on his nightclub. His customers were addicted to the drinks with drugs fused inside them. But when Park struck a deal with the Yakuza, Lee managed to take off with the key to Park's safe, filled with his money and drugs. Park had shot Lee while trying to get his key back. Ko also receives information that Lee always keeps anything important inside of his body. After freeing Joe, Ko returns to the mountain and checks Lee's body again using a metal detector that indicates Lee hid the key in his rear. Ko swallows back his disgust and retrieves the small package hiding there, which contains a capsule inside. However, he drops it on the ground when Choi suddenly shows up to arrest him for the hit and run. In Choi's car, Ko explains he's being blackmailed by Park and that he was the one that killed Lee, so Choi accepts to take off the handcuffs. And at that moment, Park calls Ko. As soon as Ko gets out to answer the call, suddenly, a crane drops a shipping container on top of the Choi's car. Ko stands there in disbelief. He is furious at Park. Park admits he did it as a warning, reminding Ko he wants Lee's body by 6 a.m. Furious, Ko threatens with turning himself in, so Park plays his next card. He's at Ko's place, visiting Mina. Ko hurries back home. His sister tells Ko that Park dropped off a toy and said he'd be back. Ko tells his family he has booked a hotel for them, telling them to leave the house with him joining later on. Ko goes to the police armory to trade in new bullets, and that's when he spots something in the corner of his eye, a C4, the confiscated explosive from the demonstration. So he takes it with him too and puts it inside Lee's body. The detonator goes with his keys, making it look like a keychain. In the morning, Ko meets with Park to hand him the body. To make sure there are no tricks involved, Park takes Ko's gun and drops the bullets before giving it back, but he doesn't suspect the keychain. He also uses a metal detector on Joe's rear, and the detector's reaction to the bomb makes Park think the key is still there. Then, he tries to shoot Ko, but Ko lies and says if he dies, there's a timed email that will be sent to the station explaining the whole deal. Park is impressed and lets him go, and as soon as he leaves, the bomb explodes. Ko picks up the bullets and watches the water for a few minutes to be sure Park isn't coming back. Thinking it's over, Ko returns home and calls his family, saying that he's on his way and puts the gun in a bookshelf. However, when he's about to leave, Park shows up, surviving the explosion. Park shows his strength, lifting Ko's body and throwing him onto the bookshelf, the shelf falling onto Ko after, making it almost impossible to retrieve the gun. Ko hides inside his room, locking and blocking the door with shelves. Park makes a hole and tries to open the door, but Ko ties his hand up and hangs it onto the door rack. Ko plans to shoot Park with the revolver, so he gets to the window, jumping to the living room window, and enters it. However, Park manages to cut the tie, freeing his hand. The fight continues, Ko tackling Park to the bathroom and hitting his head onto the doorframe. The two men end up stumbling into the bathroom, and Ko takes Park off him by burning him with the hot water. As Ko tries to go back to the bookshelf, Park finally notices the gun peeking out of the drawer, so now both of them try to reach it at the same time. Park manages to reach it first, but accidentally triggers the pistol and shoots himself dead. Afterward, there's a huge police investigation behind Park's shady business and Ko's hit-and-run crime. But the higher-ups decide to cover it all up to protect the institution's reputation. Ko decides to resign. Chief tells him he can delay his resignation and let him return, but Ko finishes packing things up and leaves. The next day, Ko's family goes to their mother's grave one last time after the chaos. deciding that they will open a toast shop, just like what Ko's sister wanted. As they are leaving, Mina drops a lipstick in front of her grandmother's grave, which turns out to be the key to Park's safe. In the end, guided by the card he had found in Lee's hideout, Ko visits the private piggy bank and uses the key to access Lee's vault. Park's safe is opened, and the movie ends with Ko staring at the contents of the safe. 5 enormous piles of cash.